All right, we're here. I think we're live.
Sit here with a grumpy face.
I got to do like this, just trying to send daggers.
Then what? I don't even see. Hold on. I don't even see the thing up there.
You don't see me?
Nope. I was trying to do a split screen, and I can't do a split screen on this thing. Hold on.
Oh. What about now?
I can do a split screen.
Okay, so you're just looking at yourself. You're not even seeing me. Hi, everybody.
I see you.
I think we are here. Yes, we are. You don't see me? Yep.
Yeah, I see you.
So today is Sunday. It's time for us to do NARC. Babe, you're mad at me, but don't be mad, please.
I am not mad.
What are you?
I am
a baby dragon.
I am not a baby dragon. I think didn't dragons go extinct? Were dragons actually just fancy dinosaurs?
You know, I'm not sure, but I hear the computer really low right now. But do you hear me okay?
I hear you great. Are you saying mine's low?
Yeah, yours is a little low, but I can now hear you a little better.
Okay. All right.
So what's going on? What's happening today? What are we chatting about? It's NARC.
It is. It is now allowing real conversations. So that's what we're doing today. So today, what are we talking about? We are running off more of the 9 traits.
9 traits. There are 9 typical traits that the American Psychological Institute utilizes to assess one's narcissistic tendencies and determine whether they have narcissistic traits. Like most humans in the world have at least one of these 9, or if they have more than 5 or more of these, they actually have NPD. So I'm excited to always talk about narcissism on Sundays with my husband, Tiger.
Is that what it is? Narcissism Sunday?
It's Narcissism Sundays. My name is Kenya K. Stevens, by the way. I'm the world's best love coach. And so this just is right up my alley, baby. You make my day every Sunday.
Yes, yes. And I'm Tiger Moonstone. I am Kenya's second husband. And one day we might even bring on the first husband. You know?
Yeah, we should.
That will be fun.
I'm going to ask him to come one week.
Yeah, one week we'll definitely do that. But this is NARC, now allowing real conversations. And what we're going to do on the show is just we're going to talk about narcissistic traits. Now, there is a difference between the narcissistic personality disorder. Now, if there are people out there with that disorder, they would need to be diagnosed by a licensed professional. That's not something that we're here on the show we're doing. If you feel like that is you, then we definitely recommend you go and talk to somebody about that. But what we are doing is we are breaking down each of those 9 traits to find out how those manifest themselves in you or your partners.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of partners may have at least one of these traits. There can be more, but definitely one of them. And it will stick out if they have it as we run through this. That you'll be like, that's that guy, that's that lady. So we definitely want to go through and deep dive. I think today we are talking about grandiosity.
Ooh.
I know. Ooh.
You ain't said nothing but a word, grandiosity.
Oh, I said a grand word.
The grandiosity word. Ooh,
that is huge. That is the one.
But you know, that's number 1 on the list.
It is number 1 on the list. I think it's grandiose of it to be number 1 on the list.
Right. It had to take the first place on the list as well. What does it mean, though?
Yeah, so for those who really identify with that grandiose trait, there's usually this overinflated perception of their own self-value, their own self-worth. Most of them see themselves as like that, I am, the most valuable person in the world.
It's like me saying I'm the best love coach on the planet.
No, that's different. See, you got the credentials to back that up. Now, they don't have any credentials.
Oh, okay.
You gotta have the credentials now.
They just talking.
Yeah, they're just pulling out thin air. It's like a guy who says, look, I'm the best lover in the world. Now, there may be some ladies that agree. There may be some ladies that disagree.
Well, he got to prove that. We got to see
No,
what's
right.
what.
See, you got to prove that. There's no way of saying that. But does that alone make him a narcissist? Probably not.
Okay.
But I know there are at least one or two ladies right now that's like, yep, that's him. That's that. That's that guy.
You might be able to say that though.
I'm not gonna sit here write my own ticket about it.
You're not gonna toot your own horn.
No, I'll let somebody else toot my horn. That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Well, let's talk about grandiosity because, this person expects to be recognized as superior.
Yeah.
And they really do believe that they are superior to others. They feel like nobody can measure up to, who they are and how they are. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I think because they have that particular trait, they don't connect with people as well.
Mm.
It becomes a real hard line of people don't understand me, that people are almost beneath me. And when that happens, yeah, it's like you're stepping on heads to get to where you want to be in the relationship.
Okay.
So those people, I'm sure are, and they know who they are. Will use people.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah, a lot of women complained about feeling used. Some men complain about that too when they say that there's gold diggers. A lot of people in different relationships feel like they're being used or utilized for their resources.
Yeah, but if you're going out there and you're flaunting it, the grandiose person is definitely going to brag.
Mm.
They're going to be the flashiest one in the club.
Wow.
But if somebody's attracted to that grandiosity, are they gold digging?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And if you are putting it out there, of course, you want it to be an attraction point.
Yeah, but that's what we all want. Is we all want that attraction. We all want somebody to see us, to like us, to really want to be in that space in our realm, as it
Yeah.
were.
That grandiosity, I think one thing that it also does is you don't really validate other people's perspective, only your own. If you have super grandiosity, nobody else thoughts, opinions, ideas, feelings matter.
No, they won't matter. Not at all.
Mm,
Because you're going to be so inflated with self-importance that, why would their opinions matter?
okay. Okay. That's good. That makes perfect sense, babe. I mean, talk to me about this though. Like, what do you want to really I don't know how if somebody realizes they have that trait, what do they do? I mean,
Um, so,
do you feel like you have that type of trait?
um, no, I don't see myself as grandiose. No,
Okay.
I definitely can see grandiosity in some other people.
Hmm.
I've actually got a friend Logan that I think he's got some grandiosity.
Really?
And the reason I say this, and I feel really bad because I've watched him and his partner go through some things, and the problem with it, and this is where I feel like he has that grandiosity, is when they get into these little skirmishes that they get into. At the end of it, he'll say, "You'll never find anyone better than me."
Oh no.
Now, how many times have people gotten to that situation where they're breaking up and they're like, "Oh, I'm the best you'll ever find. I'm the best you'll ever have."
Oh
That
my.
is that grandiosity face forward.
But I might relate to that because I feel that way. I really feel I feel like if you're breaking up with me, you're an idiot. Like I feel like what are you about to do next? I mean, I'm the top person in terms of relationships on the planet. Like you first of all learned everything, how to do and be in the proper relationship from me. You can go fix other relationships, heal other relationships. You could heal your family relationships if you and I were in a relationship. Like, and I think, all of the men that I've ever been with are back to me. They none of them cannot call me and not say, "Hey, we're back together." They be dropping by the house, like they just be like, "Hey, we still cool."
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Yes, but see, I also said you have the credentials to back it up. Now, see, we gotta make sure we're on the same page here. We're talking about people with no credentials.
Well, your friend who said to a woman, "You'll never find anybody like me." What's he talking about? What is he noting?
Yeah, so what I really think Logan's talking about is, and he's gonna see this, he's gonna be like, "Hey man, you said my name on the thing," but that's okay. I'll give permission later. But what I really think he's talking about is that is a self-preservation tactic. That's basically saying, I want to control the relationship. I don't want you to leave me when you're ready. I want you to leave when I'm ready. I want to break this off. I want to make sure that it's under my terms. And so that's that whole grandiose, like, you will not find anyone better, therefore you're going to stay.
Okay.
And so that's that trait is still drawing people in. It's trying to make sure that they control the situation, they control the narrative.
Okay.
But it's
He don't
not
have
true.
no receipts of people who
No, he
actually,
don't have no receipts. He got no credentials. He don't have no credentials.
because I got receipts.
That's right. But that's the big thing in relationships. I know people have seen it. I know they've gotten out of relationships with people that will say that, oh, you'll never find someone better. And they do get into relationships that in some cases are better, in some cases they are not better. But you'll always recreate those situations if you have not healed from those situations. And that's something that you are fundamentally brilliant at. You've got an entire library that talks about how to heal from that. I don't know if everyone has seen Kenya's libraries of things. Kenya's written 13 books. She has Up Level, which is a communication book. The book itself is mind blowing, but the book is not a standalone. It is going to teach you some communication, but you're definitely going to need some tools. You're going to need some other practices to go along with that.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
That's right. And I'm stopping the recording from earlier, but we're still recording obviously on YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need other tools to go with that. You get the book, but you can learn how to use the system. It is a language system. It teaches even a person who has narcissistic tendencies how to hear you. For instance, grandiosity means I don't even hear or see no perspective that's not my own. Whatever you saying is stupid, what I'm saying is right and true. That's grandiosity. Well, up level can literally, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but it can literally show you how to segregate perspectives and start to understand that other people's perspective is just as valid as your own. You're not, there's no way you can have a, what is that called? A cap on, what is that called? Like your
Yeah,
perspective is the,
where you put the blinders on.
yeah, like you cannot blind yourself to the fact that there's 7.7 billion people on the planet and everybody got a perspective. Now, people's perspective is not true. No perspective is true. No one perspective is true, but every perspective is valid. That's what up level helps people understand. And I think it helped our relationship.
Yeah, it definitely helped our relationship.
Yeah.
I don't think that we would still be in the spaces and the relationship that we are in without it. If you aren't aware, Kenya and I did go through some challenges in the beginning of our relationship. We spoke on that in a few places, and we managed to get through those. And it was not without the tools that Kenya has that helped us manage that.
Yeah. I'm so glad you were willing to learn it though. I mean, that was still your choice because you
Yeah,
could have been like, nah, forever, you know?
yeah, but and it's not easy because even taking that step to say, okay, I'm going to learn a different way of communicating, it's almost like learning a second language. You have to learn just the basics of it before you can do anything else. And yeah, it took a while for me to say, okay, I'm really going to take a step out of my own ego and out of my own perspective and to learn this system to, understand this person a little bit more because that's
But
a very hard.
how do the ladies get their guys to do it?
Oh, that's a rough conversation right there. Like, how do you really get anyone to do anything? I tell you what, if ladies want the real secrets, the real way of doing it, they can sign up and I'll talk to them about some ways to do that because each guy is going to be a little bit different. And so, what I would have to do is just kind of break down your guy and see what his actual traits are to understand the best way of supporting her to support him.
Okay, so you would let that lady, you would give that lady the test and see which traits her guy has in order to know how to what to lay on him to get him to
Yeah,
do,
that'd
you know.
probably be the most helpful way of doing it.
That's dope.
What I would probably start with is just at least hearing what she has to say, because
Hmm.
I'm guaranteeing if she's really thinking this guy has some trace or something, she's not being heard at the house for
Yeah.
sure.
That's the hard part though, Tiger. I mean, me being with you and staying with you is only because we have polyamory. I have other partners. We have people to really help. But if it's just one on one, what I mean, I
Mhm.
leave it to you to talk to people and support them. But wow, you just said it. If
Yeah.
she's with him one on one in the house,
Yeah, you're never going to get what you're looking for from one place. You can't get everything from one place ever. So, yeah, it's probably going to be the best way of going about at least taking that first step, taking that full journey to
mm-hmm.
healing. I know you also run a course called Divorce Proof,
Yeah,
and that these folks get to experience an entire community of people going through very similar challenges.
yep, yep.
And so that is always a very helpful tool as well.
Yeah. In Divorce Proof Club, I've seen the narcissism be on the woman's side for some of the couples and on the man's side for some of the couples and some of the couples on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
So,
nice to have that to where, it's not just, oh, I feel I'm alone in this, because nobody's alone in this.
no.
Like I said, there are nine traits, and everybody will identify with at least one of those nine traits.
Yep.
So nobody's alone.
Right. Okay, good. I like the way you put that. In terms of where to go next, I'm very excited that we got through the first trait, grandiosity. Next week when we meet, I will be in Detroit. So it will be at my grandmother's 90th
Uh,
birthday party.
your grandma's turning 90. My grandma's turning 92.
Yeah. And
No,
it's
no,
both
not 92, 90 as well.
as well. Did you decide you're going there yet?
No, I haven't really decided much of anything. I'm just always kind of back and forth about things. That may be one trait that we might have to look at if that's a trait of narcissism is indecisiveness.
I don't know. We have to look at the full list. I mean, I think that would be a good thing to study though, because yes, sometimes I mean we're at the 6th of July. So what did we decide end up deciding about my birthday?
Oh yeah, birthday conversations. Um, I don't know.
Shaking. Go ahead.
I have not made a final decision on that. And I think that's another one of those indecisiveness things. I think
Hmm.
we've had some really good conversations about him, about the birthday and the way that could look. And I think we're still have some great conversations about it. One thing about our conversations that I definitely want to speak on is that our conversations, even though there are two perspectives in that, we're really good about being able to hear the other person's perspective and really understand the why of why this person actually wants that particular thing. And I know that's a real challenge for couples. A lot of them will just get shut down.
Hmm.
The husband may say no, or the partner may say no to something,
Hmm.
and that's just it. It's just a hard no, without
Right.
ever digging in and understanding why it's the no. What is the real truth behind that?
Right.
Because there always is one, but it could be so far removed as to the real specific reason that all they're able to process is that no.
Yeah. In up level, actually, we have a concept called um, compromise versus compassion. So we don't believe in compromise. Like, I wouldn't want you to compromise and go on a trip with me, or compromise and have sex with me when you don't want to,
Mm,
or compromise. We don't believe in obligatory anything. I've been trying to say this for many, many years, but I don't think you understand. We don't need compromise, but we can exchange compromise for compassion.
yeah,
Like if I have to say no to your financial request or no to your something request or no to whatever, I can I don't have to say yes. But it would be really settling for the couple for me to have compassion. If you're
yeah.
like, I want to eat at this restaurant. No, I'm not eating there. Please, it's my birthday. birthday, all my friends are coming. No, I don't want to go there. I don't like the way it smells. I'm not going in that restaurant, even though it's your birthday. No, but I understand how hurtful that is, and I understand you want me there, and I understand it's already planned. What can I do to support you and help you understand I do have compassion? I do care about your feelings, even though I'm not going to be able to compromise.
Woo, you just said a mouthful. See, that's not just something you just walk in the door with. That's a skill right there. That is something that must be taught and learned because that's not something that we grow up with. I know I definitely didn't grow up with any kind of compromise skills to that effect. You know, I grew up, I've got three other brothers. And so, you know, I was raised in a house with four boys. And the compromise was, you know, not something that we did. Compassion was definitely not something we did. You know, it was time like, this is what I want and this is how I want it.
Yeah.
And if you're not giving it to me, it's fist fight time.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that we grew up. So that's really is a skill to learn to be able to communicate, even though you're not compromising your desire, your perspective on something, you are able to hear the other person and be compassionate to what their desire is.
That's it. That's all it takes to keep the relationship. I'm not saying like that you would never ever want to do or try to think about why you don't want to do it. If you anyways, the pluralities is the segment of the book that talks about there are about 5 of those, but the first one is compromise versus compassion. But the 5 pluralities fix 5 big problems in Western communication. You know, compromise is a big problem because it usually leads to resentment. If I keep
Yes.
compromising instead of just saying, do okay, I'll do it your way, okay, I'll do it your way, eventually it's going to lead to resentment.
Yeah, and that's a big thing in relationships that is almost never resolved is the resentment because there is no space to get that hurt feeling out. And that is one thing that up level does is allows the space for you to get that resentment, that hurt actually out of your body and feel heard. You're
Right.
doing it in a safe container. And so I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't want to give away all the secret sauce, but they definitely need to go. They need to buy the book, read the book, and you can start applying some of the techniques. But I would highly recommend that if you feel like you're in a relationship and you are not being heard from by your partner, you definitely start finding some of those tools. You know, like I said, Kenya has written 13 books, and there are so many tools in those books. There's also a divorce proof club. And if you have not joined a club in your life, this is the one to join. This is the club. I was in the original divorce proof club, and that's where Kenya and I solidified. And we taught a lot of the techniques that we use because we are divorce proof.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
I,
I really enjoyed that.
I want to hear you say that again. Say Kenya and I are divorce proof.
Kenya and I are divorce proof.
I love it because you know you can talk to Tiger. I remember, you know, a lot of my friends and a lot of the women who I've been around have received support from you with their relationships. And just when you're in this sort of vibe and space, you make it easy for them to understand how to deal with their person, their narcissistic person in their house. So, divorce proof, the books, talking to you personally, talking to me personally, it's all available.
Yeah, it is available. And I feel like, you know, when we talk about the credentials, because I have those traits, and I will identify that, yes, I have some narcissistic traits. I'm not saying that I have narcissistic personality disorder because, you know, I definitely don't have at least 5 of them. But again, you will have to have somebody who is a medical professional to diagnose that. But I am more than open to sharing what I identify as my narcissistic traits. And so if ladies are ever wondering, you know, why does my guy do this? Someone who can be self-aware is usually the best person to go to talk to about your guys.
How do you feel your traits overall have affected our relationship, or do you feel like they have no effect?
Oh yeah, I definitely feel like they've affected our relationship. And then once I felt like we got down and we started identifying the traits, we started being able to process the little nuances in our relationship that really caused a lot of those issues.
Okay.
And being able to at least identify will help you to overcome some things. I'm not saying that we're going to solve all of your problems, but we're definitely going to help allude to where there may be some confusion in the relationships, some communication struggles, because that's always the big one. Is people, it's not that they aren't good communicators, it's that they're not effective communicators. And that's a big thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for today. I know it's the 4th of July weekend and you probably
It
got
is.
events and dates and things to do. I am as well having meetings all day. And next week we'll come back and do trait number 2. We did grandiosity today. And next week we'll come back and talk about fantasies of unlimited
Ooh.
success.
Now, we'll see, you said fantasy, and that's always look, that caught my attention. Got my little ear wet. You
the,
know.
fant- the fantasy life, the fantasy life of a narcissist is deep.
Oh man.
We'll talk about their desire for a perfect woman.
And I really feel like that. Oh, I can't wait for next week. That's gonna
I
be
know.
a good one.
That's your favorite, baby. I will
That
talk
is
to
my
y'all.
favorite. I like that. I like talking about that.
I will talk to y'all again soon. We love you and definitely stay close to us. Stay tuned in.
I'm just gonna move like this. I'm not gonna dance.
I love you. How our birthday goes will be very important. How we're doing.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna find out about the birthday.